what's up everyone? Welcome to the channel. This is Pellegrini Guitar and I'm super excited to be here for part 2 of my King B Oak Cliff video. The last video that I did for the channel was part 1 where I talked about my history with this guitar. I talked a little bit about how this is not from the original King B guitars in Tennessee, but this is the other, for lack of a better term, King B guitars in Texas. I believe they are now out of business, but please correct me if I'm wrong on that one. I've owned this guitar for 7 years. I'm the original owner. I go through the story of it in the other video, but at a very high level. I love this guitar. It's modeled after a 50s Stratocaster. It used to be white on white. I particularly love the neck. I love the worn wood feel that the neck has. I love these stainless steel jumbo frets and the fret treatment that's on here. The neck plays absolutely incredible. It's probably my favorite neck of any guitar in my collection. However, there were a couple things that I wasn't jiving on so much, and that's what led me to make the changes in the multiple part video. One was the old pickups. I had hand wound vintage pickups in it that came with it. They were Amalfitano, I believe, from Texas. Very nice quality pickups, but for my style of playing, I wanted something that had a little bit more output and sustain to them. The other thing that I didn't care for so much on the old model of the guitar was the bridge. It was a 1950s style, Fender style original bridge for a Stratocaster, and I just wasn't getting much use out of it. I wanted to upgrade to something more modern. So let's talk about the changes that have been made here. I can do some demos for you. I guess visibly it's obvious that something's new because this used to be a white pick guard and now everything is black. I could have gotten what I purchased here, I could have gotten in white as well, but I thought black looked pretty cool. This is the Fishman Fluence set, and if you're not familiar with these pickups, they are active pickups, meaning there is a power source. So I took this thing from like a 1950s style vintage instrument to a much more modern one with a power source built in, and we'll get to that power source shortly. But these are active pickups, and the nice thing about it is that they are able to completely eliminate the hum. The hum on the old ones, that 60 cycle hum was really kind of killing me, and even right now, I mean, I've got the volume all the way on and you can hear there's nothing. I mean, the guitar's on, but it's not humming, which is, you know, a major factor for me. It was just getting too annoying before. So that was part of it. The way that they make these pickups is actually fascinating to me. I mean, for like 80 years, they've been making pickups the same way, where you've got like a magnet and some copper wire, and you wrap it however many times around the wire, and then that's what transmits the signal, you know, down the chain. Obviously, I'm not an expert on this thing, but what I found interesting about these Fishman pickups is that instead of doing it with wire, which can come with you know, some amount of inexactness, for lack of a better term, they're not all going to be, there's not going to be perfect conformity in every pickup when you're wrapping wire. They do it with printed circuit boards, and they're able to replicate a wire around a magnet. They still use a magnet, but they have these circuit boards around it so that they can have perfection in the amount of coil wraps that they would have from a wire. That allows them to tune the pickups any way that they want. And they actually have their own preamp in them because it's active. So you can tune these pickups. The way that they've done this Strat set is really impressive. There are a few different voices that I'm going to go through for you now. Before we even get to the bridge stuff, let's just listen to the different sounds that you can get out of these Fishman Fluence pickups. So I'm all the way up here on the neck pickup, and I don't have any of the pull switches engaged. So everything is just full on. Clarity. I mean, that's what got me right away. And even when I turn it into drive, I love the clarity of the note that comes through. The active pickup is really what makes that possible. Now, what's interesting here is, first I'm going to showcase the more subtle thing. I forget the name of this effect, but they said that it simulates a passive pickup, so no power source, with a much longer cable, which is going to roll off some of the highs. So if I play an E major chord here with it engaged, hear that? I mean, there's a little bit more high end. It's not a drastic thing. I'm going to play it. Here's a D chord. It's just a little bit more sparkly on the top end if you want. I don't really make a lot of use of it. I just keep it on so I get that sparkling sound, and I just leave it on all the time. What I do mess with more, however, is the push-pull of this tone knob over here. I've currently got it on the vintage setting. I was doing Little Wing on the intro, and the vintage voiced pickups are perfect for that. But what I love about the options that come with this more modern setup is that I can pull it out, and I actually tend to use this more. This is what they call their Texas Hot, which is perfect for this guitar. It was modeled after a Texas Strat. But in this case, with it in, here's vintage again. Pull it back out, go to the Texas Hot again. So you can hear that a little bit, and I can do the Stevie Ray thing. I love about that tone too is I'm all the way up here on the neck pickup, and it still sounds so clear and open. A lot of times with the neck pickup you're going to get a little bit more of a muddiness sound, and that's just not the case here. So let's keep going through the sounds that I can get here. I'm going to go back to the vintage voice. We'll go to the middle here, so I've got these two pickups engaged. Roll off some tone all the way down to the get real jazzy sound in there. Sounds really bright when you turn it back up. Do the chicken picking thing too. Keeping going through here, let's get to the middle. Now we're just on this one middle pickup. Let's get a little bit hotter, you know. Okay, and I forgot to do the Texas one on the last one. I'll get back to that. So here is the middle one with the Texas style. Together. And then I'll just keep it on the Texas one, and we'll go all the way to the back two here. So these is going to be a lot hotter sounding now. Here to the bridge. I've still got it on that Texas heat mode. I leave it on the bridge and I go back to the vintage mode for the pickup, a little bit mellower. So a lot of sounds are available to you by messing around with these things. I want to talk a little bit more about changes that I made. The other thing that I mentioned was the bridge, and I wasn't digging that 50s style tremolo, so I ended up going with the Vega Trem, and I've even got their sticker on the guitar now. You can see the Vega Trem there on the back. Basically, it's a vintage style of tremolo, but it's 2-point synchronization. And one thing that I love about it that I've never really been able to do before is up or down. Normally I can only go down with the last one, and I have a Floyd Rose as well. It only goes down, but this one, it allows you to do more musical. You can also do my favorite little flick technique here. I'm going to give it some gain. do that obviously, but just wanted to demonstrate it. I like being able to go up and down. I'm actually, because I had this tremolo unit, I decided to go with lighter gauge strings. I'm normally 10s or 11s, sometimes even 12s, although I'm kind of done with the 12s. But I bought 9s for this guitar. I haven't used 9s in like 25 years, but I went with the Ernie Ball coated slinkies. I've been enjoying the coated strings lately. I think I'm going to switch all of my guitars to coated rather than regular nickel wound. These are 9s. They feel good. I mean, it's light, but I feel like I can just kind of tear through them a lot more. You know, there's just... arpeggio for you. I don't know, I'm getting used to the feel of them, but I wanted lighter gauge strings because I wanted easier action here. I went with lighter springs in the back. There's only 2, and lighter action on the bar, and just being able to play with that. You know, I'm gonna start learning some Jeff Beck licks, I think, because this thing is kind of set up perfectly for that. The other thing that I wanted to talk about that was really interesting with the guitar is that there are, you know, I mentioned before, it's an active preamp that's built into this. This is an active pickup set, and therefore it needs power. The old school way of doing things would be a 9-volt battery, which is wired up to the innards of your guitar and tucked in somewhere behind some plate and out of sight, out of mind. And that's fine. I mean, they last forever. I think you get about 250 hours normally of playing time from a single 9-volt battery. But with a Stratocaster style guitar here, the only place to put it is like under the pick guard, and you'd have to remove that. And it's just kind of a hassle. It felt a little bit more old school. And I found out a different way that Fishman offers, and I thought this was genius. You might have already seen it when I flipped this over before, but this is actually a battery pack, and it's really cool. I didn't have a plate like this on the back of my guitar before. It was just open and you could see all the springs, but most Strats are gonna have just a flat panel back here, and you can see you've got the opening to be able to string it. You know, otherwise you'd have to take that off every time, which would be a hassle. But this is retrofitted to fit where a panel would normally be. In my case, the screw holes weren't there, and so I literally had to take a drill to my guitar to make that happen, and that was kind of crazy feeling, but it was, you know, just the little drill holes for this. But the nice thing is, this is a USB plug right here. When you charge this thing up, you're gonna get 250 hours of playing time. I think it took 3 hours for it to charge up. So just a more modern way of making sure that you're all set up. I guess when you get down to 5 hours, it'll start blinking red, which is still a considerable amount of playing time. But I just took this thing from an old 50s style guitar to a much more modern feel. It's fun, you know. I mean, the panel, I was wondering, because you can see if you look at the profile, it's kind of thick, but I don't feel it at all when I'm playing. It doesn't make the guitar heavier, and nor do I feel it against my body when I'm playing. So there's nothing to that. I just like that I've gotten rid of the hum. The note clarity and definition of these Fluence pickups is really nice. They sustain longer. They kind of fit my style of playing a little bit more. And then just love being able to play with the bar. Most of my guitars are hardtails. I have several Gibsons and a PRS that are all hardtails, and I love hardtails, but every once in a while it's kind of fun to see what creative stuff might come out of you just playing with the bar more. So been enjoying that. Overall, you know, I've had this thing 7 years. It's certainly not going anywhere. It's very special to me. I do think it looks a little bit cooler now. It's got that super Strat feel a little bit more, and just more happy with the amount that I'm going to be able to use it, because it doesn't have the hum and it just kind of fits my playing style a little bit more. So that's basically it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you're enjoying the content. If you are, please help me out by subscribing to the channel, and I will see you in the next video. I'm going to play you out here, but thanks for sticking with me.